Hi guys, so we're going to do a little bit of an update on the onion grow along today. So I had really poor germination from my first lot of onions that you watched me sow. So as you can see, the up to date, which were my newer ones, have had some germination. Then the Rainsberger, which were an older one, have had a bit. The next ones, Bedford Temperature, absolutely nothing, and one Expedition. So I left them on the heat a little bit longer, hoping that they would produce a few more, and it's made them a little bit longer than I would normally expect at this point. But all I'm going to do now, these will be absolutely fine, is I'm going to give them a little bit of a trim. So what you can see is that sometimes you'll find little kinks and things like that in the top of your onions. You can also find that the seed, I don't know if you can see that actually, there we go, but the seed can be attached to the top and pull it down. So by giving them a little bit of a trim, we can move those off, and it will help them get a little bit thicker as well. It's not something that you necessarily need to do, but it is something that I find helps. There is a lot of argument over whether it's the right thing to do or a wrong thing to do, but all I'm going to do is literally take the scissors and give it a little bit of a trim. I'm not taking it down a huge depth. They'll be absolutely fine. And that last one over there, I don't think that one's coming at all. And then on the next ones, these are the ones that I sowed in soil blocks. Once again, same things happened, hardly any germination on these, but the up-to-date ones have done okay. So I'm going to give those a little bit of a trim as well. The wispy ones. Hopefully you can see that, it's getting a bit heavy. Okay, so that's those trimmed. And then the other ones that we had were our red onions. They haven't germinated too badly, but we're going to give them a little bit of a trim as well, just to remove any off the top. So that one there, that you can see that it's kinked over, you can see that one very well there, so I'll be getting it just before that kink, moving that off, because what we don't want is the onions to collapse over once they're in the bed, because once they do fall over, that is it for the onions. They have finished their cycle. Put them into water. And then when they didn't germinate, the next thing that I did was buy some fresh seeds, and these are the ones that I've grown from there, which are doing much better. So I've got a Utah Jumbo White, I've got a Density, and then a Carmen Sweet, which is a red variety. And as you can see, these are all folded over, which is completely normal. Hopefully you can see that. And I'm not worried about that. These haven't been on heat for more than a couple of days. As soon as I saw those first little ones coming through, I took them straight off the heat and they came into the tunnel. If you have still got them in the house, then it can really make them get very leggy. So it is really beneficial to have them outside if you can do that, or somewhere much cooler, but also quite bright. These aren't overly deep pots, so one thing I will be doing is taking clumps of these and then potting them on into a deeper pot, something like that, to grow them on for when I sell them. And that's just to allow them to establish plenty of roots and get strong enough and to get thicker. You can often find with onions as well that you'll lose some as we go along, and that's not anything to worry about. That's just a natural part of the process. So please don't worry, as long as we've got a decent amount that are really doing well, that's absolutely fine.